then if you want to look. Got it. I'm on it. You're a professional. We can cut that out. Welcome, Ram fans. My name is Geno Borchardt, and I have the privilege of being the stadium announcer for the Texas Wesleyan Ram football team. As the voice of the Rams, it's my privilege to welcome all of you to the first edition of the Coach Joe Show and Happy Hour. We're coming to you from Texas de Brazil, a Brazilian steakhouse located in downtown Fort Worth, 101 North Houston Street. Texas de Brazil is a proud sponsor of Texas Wesleyan Football. Let's get the show rolling. Let's bring Coach Joe Perdomo into the show. Coach Joe leads the Rams into their third season of play. Prior to coming to Texas Wesleyan, Coach Joe led the Nolan High School Vikings to 7 state championships in 26 years. Coach Joe has been named as Coach of the Year by Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Let's give a big hand to our fearless leader, Coach Joe. All right, Coach, our Rams open play on Saturday night in Salina, Kansas, when the Rams will face a top 3 program, the Kansas Wesleyan Coyotes. As you head into your third season, what can the fans expect?
You know, I think you're going to see a lot more explosive team. We're a whole lot better, I believe, on defense. Our offense is a little more mature. We've got a really great offensive line in front of them. All the playmakers are back. And if you were there the other night, you saw our special teams, and our special teams were really, really good the other night. We had 2 returns for touchdowns. The punting set up some good field position situations. I'm really, really excited about this. I mean, we got an explosive team. We had a great summer, a lot of good things that went on. Recruiting was outstanding. Our offensive line is much bigger, stronger, more athletic than they were last year, and the guys that needed to have a great offseason did.
Right, and when you referenced the other night, just for everybody out there, the Rams scrimmage, the Southwestern University Pirates, a Division III program that has achieved some success. They have won a conference championship. They lost to the Division III national champion, Mary Hardin Baylor, by 2 touchdowns, and the scrimmage only went 1 half because of rain delays, but the Rams ended up pulling that thing out. They won 29 to, was it 15 or 16?
16.
29 to 16. So you were 2 touchdowns up on a team like that pretty quickly. What did that tell you about your team?
Well, it kind of validated a lot of our off-season work. We had a really great summer, courtesy of the Ram Club, and a lot of the fundraising was able to keep our kids on campus this summer. And we're just a whole lot more mature of a football team. We're stronger physically. We're a lot more together. Our chemistry is so much further along than it was this time last year. We just have a real single purpose, whereas in the past, you get there and you're bringing them from so many different places and you're trying to get it all harnessed, and by the time you do, it's game 6. We're so much further ahead along that, and I'm excited about the direction we're headed.
Yeah, so as you go into year 3, Coach, why don't you touch on that a little bit more? Some of the things that you've done differently rolling into this season as opposed to past years. What were you able to do with the team and some of the summer things?
We ended up having 40 kids on campus in June for 3 weeks. We had 20 commuters that were on campus, so it made it 60. Then we upped it to 60 in July for 3 weeks on campus, another 20. So we had 80 of our core kids were on campus throughout the summer. That's huge. And let me put it kind of a frame of reference for that. Our first year we had our conditioning test. When everybody came back from summer, 1 kid passed it out of 140. 1 kid. Year 2, 7 kids passed the test. This year, 87 kids passed the test. So you went from 1-7 to 87. That's kind of a big deal. And I mean, that's just the conditioning portion of it, but their actual camaraderie, their chemistry, the way they interact, the way they understand, and we're able to foster and to kind of grow the leadership piece of it. because we didn't have that in place where it needed to be. First year, it was just, my goodness, you had all these kids that all wanted to be alphas, and none of them were really equipped to lead. Second year, you had a few guys that were kind of starting to stick out as leaders, but we really were able to galvanize that whole thing this summer because they were together. We were able to really mentor them and to really shape the leadership piece. The leadership piece cannot be understated. And this year we finally got what we think is our real ground foundation of that. And you put that together with the actual physical part of it and the being together, the leap is going to be, I think, really, really, really big.
All right, again, we're coming to you from Texas de Brazil in downtown Fort Worth. Whenever the Rams go on the road this season, you'll be able to get all the pregame details here at Texas de Brazil. Wednesday afternoons, 5 to 7 p.m., happy hour on appetizers and drinks, and we encourage everybody to join us here. Back to you, Coach. Let's talk about the team. How many returning starters do we have?
I believe on offense we have 7, and defensively we have like 3. Duckworth made it, he wanted to really change his defense, and he did. We got some really dynamic kids coming in. Offensively, we have, I guess it's 2 returning starters on the offensive line. The rest are freshmen from really big programs like Duncanville, Aledo, Flower Mound. We feel really good about those guys. The guys that are back are in the skill positions on offense primarily, and the center, which is big because I kind of count the center as a skill guy anyway. He has to make all the calls up front. Defensively, our free safety's back. He's your signal caller. We have a couple of the linebackers back. Some guys that got hurt early are going to be back. So we got experience in the right spots, but we really feel like we upgraded around the core pieces that we have.
All right, so let's start putting some names with that, starting with the offensive side of the ball. Who do you look to be the playmakers?
Well, I'm really hoping that, Donovan Isom takes the next step. I mean, he worked out for the Packers. He worked out for the Giants. He did a thing with the Saints, and they all really loved him. He went from 280 and not in great shape. Sorry, Donovan. But, he's down to 260. He's moving so much better. His ball flight's better. His velocity is better. Jamarcus Jones is back, and he had a great offseason. Lamont's back, Lamont Monroe, who had 3 of the top, high yardage games in the NAI nationally, all, single game deals. He's back. Collier Ricks is back, our big 6'3" pogo stick on the outside. We got a lot of guys back on offense, and Tyler Pulig is faster. Rolf has put on 20 pounds from last year. He's our fastest kid in our program, and he's now more explosive. He's faster. He's more confident. He's more rounded out. Trey Jackson is in much better physical condition. He's another running back for us. Our skill positions on offense are really solid. I'd put them up against anybody in the conference. Defensively.
Well, just a second here, Coach, so that the fans don't get lost there when you're talking about a fella that weighs 280 or 260. We're talking about the quarterback.
Right. And our whole goal this offseason was to get offensive linemen as big as our quarterback. And that's kind of a really different deal, but it's a reality of it. And last year he'd look down and you could actually see Donovan's shoulder pads were even with the tops of their heads. Now he's got 5 guys he's got to look over, and that's a big upgrade. Except for the center, he's short, but we want him short. You got a guard out of Duncanville who's just scratched the surface. He's 6'3.5", 6'4", 290. He's played 2 years, and he came in from Barak Leadership Academy. This is a really kind of cool story. He was there to his freshman, sophomore year. He goes to Duncanville High School, arguably one of the top programs in the country, right? He gets in the rotation as the 6th man for 2 years on their offensive line. Never played football. Never put his hand on the ground. Never even put on a helmet. And so his potential is incredible. Plus, he's like an 1180 SAT kid, really smart. Then we got the right tackle from Aledo, and I don't have to say anything about Aledo. Aledo's Aledo. They're almost, they almost have done what I did over there. So they're really, really strong. And so we move him to left tackle. We got all kinds of guys that are up front. We signed 23 offensive linemen that are there and big and physical and nasty, and they work hard. And Donovan has to actually look up and over now. For us, that was a big step. And Donovan has made great chemistry with him. Those guys trust him. They don't want anybody to touch him. So that was a big step for us on offense.
Right, and so just kind of going through the rest of those players, Jamarcus and Trey will be in the backfield at running back.
Yep. Jamarcus, we've held out a lot of the whole preseason workouts. He does his own workout. He had a little injury that he's worked through. But, I told Jamarcus, he gets very frustrated because Jamarcus likes to work. Jamarcus wants to work all the time. And I told him, I said, Jamarcus, do you want to run hard in practice or do you want to get those yards in the game? And he's kind of the beautiful thing is he's frustrated. He's ready to go. He's completely healthy now, and I'm looking for great things. His vision is so good. Trey has put on a couple, 3 more pounds of muscle, but his 40 time has dropped another, 10th. He's down around a 4.48, and weighing 200 can fly. So yeah, we're pumped about that.
And then at the rest of those fellows, all at the receiver spot, is there going to be enough? It seems like you're pretty deep at the receiver spot.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with right now is the receivers in the DACs and everything, we need another football. We need 2 footballs going all the time because they all want it. I mean, they're all anxious. And the beautiful thing about our receivers, they're all selfish. Every receiver should be selfish. And the thing about it, I look at it is, I tell them all the time, the only bad ball is one that does not come to you. Whatever they throw at you is a good ball because it came to you. But their catch radius is so big. And they all have, I mean, we're so long-armed, we're so athletic. I mean, there's the high side on those guys is way up there, way up there.
Right, great. Now, let's move to the other side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, who's going to be making the big plays on that side of the ball?
Well, there's a lot of those guys. We signed a all-conference defensive end out of Blinn College. Blinn is about as good a JUCO as it gets, and he's undersized. He's out of Center, Texas. So he and I get to have good conversation. I'm from Tyler, so, there's a lot of pine trees. We get a lot of good conversation about that. We have a huge kid out of Bellhaven who came to us. He's a graduate transfer, Sean Benson. He's like 6'5", 285, very athletic. I call him Shade Tree because when he moves slow, I can get in the shade with him. But our defensive line's been incredibly upgraded. We got a transfer out of Southern, Jamal Tillman. He's going to be a big upgrade. And then we got a safety. Of course, Chance is back, and he was all conference, honorable mention. Damian Francis. You got a 6'2" corner. He's about 200, who is the most physical corner I've been around seeing. Anytime a corner squats 600 pounds, he's pretty nasty. The thing about Damian that's kind of cool, though, is that Damian is also a rapper. He has 2.5 million views on YouTube on his latest rap. He told me not to look at it because he got all embarrassed, and I said, that's fine. I won't. Trust me. I'm not big on rap, but you do country. I'll watch every bit of it, Damian. But then we got Tyreek Davis, who came to us out of Law Tech. He's the other corner. Devin Smith. We got another kid out of Ron Brown, who's from Benbrook originally, went to East Texas Baptist. He's incredibly athletic. We just got to gather all that in. Defensively, we didn't have Kendrick Anderson last year. Broke his foot in the first practice of contact with a Jones fracture. That's the one that hurt Des Bryant. That kept him out all year. It, kept Kendrick out. Kendrick's a big linebacker, very, very bright. He's got like a 3.6 GPA, but also he can get right in the middle of the defense and make all the calls. And he is 6'2", 240, and sideline to sideline. We didn't have that last year. Got a transfer out of California, Millsaps. He's looking really good. And another kid I'm really excited about, and we signed him because we brought him here to Texas de Brazil, Mark Seidler out of Tennessee, and he's a freshman. He's 6'2", 220, really high football IQ. And he's a really nice kid, very bright. But when he gets on the field, man, he's a maniac, and I love that. He wants to know who's going to make the next play, and he's just like all over the place. But when I brought him here with his dad, and his dad works out in area, is it 69? What is it out in Roswell?
Yeah, I don't.
You know what I'm talking about, the real sir. He is the intelligence guy for that, so we really can't talk about that. But once he and his dad came here to Texas de Brazil, saw what we had to do. He wants to go into marketing, but that is a freshman that's going to maybe potentially freshman of the year in the conference at linebacker. We've upgraded the whole deal, And athletically on special teams, it's gonna show how we fly, how we spark. I mean, I'm pumped about it.
Well, great. Well, speaking of Texas de Brazil, what a great venue. And we invite, again, we invite everybody out there to join us next Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m., where we'll be back here talking about the Texas Wesleyan Ram football team. Coach, it's just a spectacular place, isn't it, here at
Well,
Texas
I tell you
de
what,
Brazil?
Texas de Brazil right now for us is undefeated on commitments. I've brought 7 kids here, and every one of them signed. You know, so I mean, you bring them here, you're bringing them to the show. And they come here, and they understand about the green and the red. And I said, gentlemen, look, you really stay away from the fodder. Don't touch the bread. The salad bar, go for it, but eat the meat. And I'm telling you what, Texas de Brazil has been instrumental in helping us build this last class. And that's that is absolute fact. So I've been really excited what they've done for us, because 7 for 7, pretty dang strong, I'd say.
Absolutely. Texas de Brazil, a great place to eat and a great place to talk Texas Wesleyan football. Let's look ahead to Saturday, going to Salina, Kansas to take on the Kansas Wesleyan Coyotes, 6 p.m. kickoff. This isn't just a battle of the Methodists. Texas Wesleyan Rams have the work cut out for them, as they're going to face Kansas Wesleyan, who, by whatever poll you look at, is ranked in the top 3 in the country, and the Coyotes made it all the way to the national semifinals last year. Why don't you give us your thoughts on the game?
You want me to start with last year or now, or how you want to do this?
Wherever you want to start, Coach.
Okay, because last year, you talk about giving one away. We had 500 yards of offense. We get down in the red zone 3 times, I believe, and we managed to have 4 holding calls and shoot ourselves in the foot. It's amazing there was no blood on the turf. I mean, just from the over and over and over and over. Are they a great football team? Yes. And what I really admire about Kansas Wesleyan is that they do what I really would like to do and am going to do eventually, is you allow that other team to give you your best shot, and you weather the storm, and you let them beat themselves. And that's kind of what we did last year, in my opinion. Anytime you get 500 yards of offense, that should translate into 35 points. But we gave up a pick 6. We had a blown assignment on a touchdown. It should have been 7-7 going in the half. But, you know, last year's team, in my opinion, of our team, does not measure up at all to the team I have now.
Right, and just for our fans, let's back up and make sure they understand. Kansas Wesleyan came to Fort Worth last year, and the Rams put up a valiant fight, including all of the things you've discussed. But one of the key factors in that game was the Rams were only down by 7 late in the first half when Donovan Isom, starting quarterback, got hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt on a freeze call, and should have been a penalty, but, you know, that is what it is. But, you know, the thing about that is we were in a position to really take over the game. And when I looked down their schedule, they were beating people 70-6, 68-14, 60 whatever, and they were destroying teams. And I'm looking up and thinking, you know, we played so bad. We had so many mistakes, and we self-destructed. But I believe that we're so much more mature now that it has a chance to be a much different ball game, a much different outcome. If we don't give this thing away, if we go ahead and don't turn the ball over, don't give up big plays, I like our chances. And as crazy I might be for thinking that, and that's fine, we're very athletic. We're very electric. But we're not as mature as I want to be as they are. I mean, they're very mature. They got a lot of seniors. They brought in 38 transfers, and I'm not sure how that works when you have all those returning starters and you add 38 transfers on top of it. How's that going to all play out? And I would much rather play a top 3 program early in the season than a JV team that's not going to help you. You know, I think that the conditions are right for us to go up there and play a really great game and don't give up big penalties, pre-snap penalties especially. Don't turn the ball over. Don't give up big plays. Let's play ball. Let's see what happens. Because I like how athletic we are. I like our coaching staff. I love what we have scheme-wise going on. It could be real interesting late. If it's interesting late, and they got a first-year head coach, and he's an outstanding coach, absolutely no question about it. But how would you like walking into a program to where you're top 3 nationally, and everybody in the world expects you to destroy everybody by 70? You better beat everybody by 70, or else those little for sale signs start popping up in your lawn, because it is Salina, Kansas, right? So that's the reality of it. They're used to success, and that's great, but I just want it close at the end, and then let's see what happens.
Very good. Does you feel like the team shares the same attitude you have about the game?
I believe so. We had a really subpar practice yesterday, and then we took some behavioral correction measures afterwards, and today, and last night, and we had a much better practice today. So I think the point was made, but they need to understand is this isn't. Everybody wants to talk about how it's a tough deal, but it's also an opportunity, because we're going to get an opportunity to play one of the top teams in the country, and if we do what we're supposed to do, what a great launch point for us. I mean, for us, it's all good. For them, it's all down. If they don't do well against us, all the pressure's on them, and all the pressure is that why didn't you take a team that everybody says is a third-year program? How could you not beat them by 70? Where I'm looking at it, we're going after them because there's nothing better than big game hunting. Who wants to shoot a rabbit when you can kill the moose?
All right, Coach. All right. Well, we hope you have a great weekend hunting.
Why not?
All right. So one of the reasons we're doing this program is to show folks all the great ways that they can get involved with Ram football. And as we're here tonight, there's at least 2 great ways that the fans can get involved. The first way is to be here next Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. at Texas de Brazil here in downtown Fort Worth. Another great way to support the Rams is to join the Ram Club today. You can go to texwest.edu and search Ram Club. The Ram Club supports the student athletes so that they can be successful on the field, in the classroom, and in life. Coach, how important is it to you and the team that folks in Fort Worth, even folks that have no connection to Texas Wesleyan University, because we want everybody to feel welcome, how important is it to you and the team that everybody here in Fort Worth get behind the team, go to games, and support your Rams?
Oh, I think it's paramount. I mean, we want to be part of Fort Worth's teams too. I mean, TCU is a huge presence, outstanding program, but you're looking at the 17th largest city in the country. Last time I checked, right? A lot of those other cities have 2 pro teams, right? And they may have a college team. They have 2 hockey teams or 2 baseball teams or whatever the other sports are. Fort Worth is so big and has so much potential to reach out, and not everybody can go to a TCU game. Not everybody can afford that. But you can come to a Texas Wesleyan game and be a part of a college program that gives back. I mean, we spent last Saturday over in Stop 6 working with the Back the Blue, and I have guys that go out into the community, and we want to be a part of the community. We want to be ingrained in the community, the very fabric of it. We'll be woven in that. And we want people to feel good about coming to see us play, because we're a team that you can reach out, you can kind of touch and feel, whereas other programs, they're off limits. I mean, they're so, big time that you can't even be a part of it. We want you to meet our guys. We want you to have the opportunity to see them and their stories. And I've got guys that work jobs up from, they go in at midnight, work till 6. They go to class, they come to practice, they sleep 4 hours, they go back and repeat the cycle. And those are the kind of guys that I want to get behind, not the guys that have everything they could ever dream of. They can blink their eyes and they can now have cryogenic, treatments, and they can have everything in front of them. I want that underdog to have a chance. And we want everybody that wants to be a part of this program to feel free to be a part of it and to come into it and touch it, feel it, and get a part of it and be behind it, because it's very, very real. What we do is very real, very raw, but you know what? It's special.
Well, and let's talk about that, Coach. One of the great things about the program under your leadership is that if there are folks out there that want to have a great Saturday afternoon experience, they can come to a football game. They can get there 2 hours beforehand. We've got a great Ram Zone where there's a lot of fun going on out there, and then they get to enjoy college football. But for families out there, tell us about some of the boys and what a great influence they could be on families, because we know under your leadership that it isn't just about football. It's about raising these young men in the right way and getting them on the road to success in life. So, and that in turn, if you bring your family out there, families in Fort Worth would get a taste of that.
Yeah, you would get an opportunity to meet young men that have actually they've sold out. I don't know how else to put it. They've sold out to really the spirit and the idea of Ram football, but not only Ram football, but Texas Wesleyan and education. Because what I always tell them is, I want to know what you will look like in 10 years. If you're coming here to go to the NFL, I wish you luck. Good luck. It may happen. One out of a million of my guys. I hadn't coached a million of them yet, so it could be tough. But, you know, these guys are they're inspirations to me. I have guys that have been homeless that have come in and really made themselves a way to go. I've had guys from siblings of 10 to 12 in the family in 2-room homes that have come in and done really well. They found a place, and they all have each other. But the great thing about them is they love to give back to the community. And once we introduced the concept of giving back to the community and being a part of it and really ingraining yourself, is they understood, I have so much more than I thought. And when they give back, they get so much more in return emotionally, that I think that it's great. But when you meet my guys and you come out and you get to go to a game, and the whole Ram Zone experience is outstanding. I mean, Kenneth is way up on the chain as far as what he does and able to accomplish. The Ram Club is unbelievable in what's happened. And like, you know, our first 2 years are very, very rough on the field, or at least our first year for sure. But we always won pregame, and we won the parking lot, and we won the experience. And we had teams rolling in that had been there forever. They're like, how are y'all doing this first year? And I'm like, you know, we have people that are motivated and excited and want to be a part of it. They created this. And they said, well, how do we do that? I said, well, that's your problem, not mine. I mean, you got your team. I don't. So we got that rolling. So to come out to a Ram Zone, meet who we are, what we are, to meet our kids, we're always there and available. But, yeah, my guys are incredible to be around.
All right, Coach Joe, that'll wrap it up for tonight, and we sure thank you all for being here, and we thank all of you out there for listening to tonight's show. As you can tell, we are very fortunate to have such a tremendous coach, Coach Joe. Let's give him another big hand. And again, I want to invite everybody out there to make sure to join us again next Wednesday at 5 p.m. here at Texas de Brazil in downtown Fort Worth, 101 North Houston Street, 5 to 7 p.m., happy hour appetizers and drinks as well. Coach Joe will be back here. Hopefully we'll be breaking down an epic win over the Kansas Wesleyan Coyotes.
Once we win next week, you better get here early, because it's going to get sold out really, really quick.
Absolutely. Get here early and stay late. We wish everybody safe travels and farewell from Texas de Brazil in downtown Fort Worth.